And now, join Kevin Hart as he dives into the minds of some of your favorite celebrities. This is Gold Mines with Kevin Hart.
What up, world? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. With another version of all shit. You already know what it is, goddamn. This is Gold Mines, and you know what we do here. We get inside the minds of amazing people, and today's show will be no different. Today's show is going to match the synergy and energy of fun, man, because I'm talking to another one of my own. You guys know how I feel when I get to talk to comedians. I get excited. I don't know why, man, but comedy conversation is just a different level of conversation. And today we're talking with a vet. We're talking with a true vet, pioneer, somebody that's been in the game for a long time and figured out so many ways to navigate within the business of the business. And that goes from writing, that goes from personality, that goes from acting. I mean, pretty much it goes from becoming a multi-hyphenate. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to the man, the myth, the legend. We're talking to Roy Wood Jr. What's going on, Roy?
You know what it is, bro? Because I got excited because I get to talk to you too. Mm-hmm. It's because comedians get excited to talk to other comedians because you're like, ooh, somebody else that's been abused too. Let's share pain stories. That's the first thing comedians do when they get together. Remember that terrible time when the terrible shit happened?
They not pay you too? Them motherfuckers. Man, they didn't give me shit either, man. They did not give me shit.
Bro,
Roy,
it's a pleasure.
There's so many places that I think I can go within the conversation that we're going to have, man. But for our listeners, I think it's an amazing opportunity for the listeners that don't know you to get an understanding of who you are, and why the category of dope is attached to what you do. Roy, how long have you been doing comedy? How many years have you been in the game?
98. I was 19 years old at Florida A&M, and that's when I started. Wow. 98. I got arrested. We ain't never talked for it, but I don't talk about this shit on stage. I got arrested for running credit cards in college. Okay. And so I thought I was going to prison. Well, I was supposed to go to prison. Let's just be 100 about it. And I get arrested. And in the time from when I hit the plea, and I got arrested Thanksgiving of 98. So I started doing open mic to deal with depression. January come, I take a plea. I get suspended from school because I committed a crime on campus. Mm-hmm. Sentencing isn't until June. I get a FIAID check for $7,000 first week of February. I get suspended from school. I get handed $7,000, and my lawyer tells me in June I'm going to prison. So I take the $7,000 and I just use it to fund the first 5-6 months of stand-up comedy. I ride the Greyhound. I sleep in the bus station. I'm doing everything I can to stretch out the $700. June comes. For whatever fucking reason, I get probation. My pops used to be a professor at FAMU. My mom went to FAMU. My auntie went to FAMU. So there was enough protection for the community in Tallahassee to kind of give me a second chance at it. So instead of expelling me, they let me back in school. And I just kept doing stand-up, bro. I got my degree, and I'm sitting here talking to you. I know a lot of shit happened in between there, but that's the basic beginnings of all of my shit, man. Is that that
may have been the most well vetted out like delivery of one's entry into stand-up comedy that I think I've ever heard. Like it was the bullet points attached to the problem, attached to what was supposed to be the consequence, to the immediate solve, and the support and reason to how you are where you are now. Like that was a great tie-up.
This is Gold Mines, hosted by Kevin Hart. We return to Gold Mines, hosted by Kevin Hart.
When a court-appointed attorney looks you in the eyes and goes, yeah, nigga, you're going to prison. Get your affairs in order. When I went to sentencing in June, bro, my apartment was packed. It was already a done deal. I'm out of here.
What do you think? What did you think from a time-wise? What did you think that you was going to do?
I was facing 5. The lawyer said I'd get 2, be out in a year on good behavior, overcrowding. But I figured for at least 2 years. And keep in mind, this is 98. The number one show on HBO is Oz. So my brain is going into what the fuck prison is going to be. And I just think that when you got like the great inevitability of going to prison where I figured I would die, I go, all right, well then what the fuck am I going to do for the next 5 months? Fuck it. You ain't got no friends either. That's the other thing in college. When you get arrested, you ain't got no friends no more because you hot.
I will talk to you.
Yeah. So, and keep in mind, my job was to sell stolen clothes. I was the hooker. I was the plug.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ain't a plug
no more. Got clothes no more. He ain't even got no clothes no more.
So then you realize your worth within your community was attached to your ability to provide for them. So the moment I lost that, you go from like 40 friends to like 2 or 3. And all I needed to do, I worked at Golden Corral 20 hours a week. My share of the rent was $375. So all I had to cover was $375 at Golden Corral. The rest of it, I spent that net check and that 5 check on just traveling, hotels. And, if I could get a hotel, cool. If not, sleep at the bus station. I mean, bro, I used to go get booed at Uptown in Atlanta, and it would take the MARTA back downtown on Sunday nights and sleep at that bus station. And then it'd be some nigga that's working at the Greyhound station that saw me get booed earlier that night.
How did you find out? Like, who provided you with what acted as your roadmap into like the early stages of open mic at that time? I mean, you're a college kid, and you're like, fuck it. Through these 5 months, I'm just trying to figure out where I can go. Where were you getting the information?
Student activity. So I had a hookup over at Florida State. So the first stand-up show I ever saw was on campus. I didn't even know Birmingham had a comedy club. Okay. Birmingham, 98 at that point, Ricky Smiley is Black comedy Jesus, especially in the South. Like, Rick was hosting Comic View. He was from the crib. We both from Birmingham, just for the listeners. And so even figuring out how to do it the way Ricky did, I didn't know. But then Lavelle Crawford and Corey Zooman Miller came to our school and did a show. And then I realized, colleges do shows. Well, if FAMU got a show, maybe Florida State got a show. My roommate was fucking a girl at Florida State. So I would go wingman for him and, talk to the ugly girl in the lobby while they go upstairs and, and then you see on the cork board, comedy night, FSU. It's my fucking Earthquake and Michael Blackson. So I started going over to Florida State and watching their comedy shows every week. And then once a semester, Florida State would have a student contest. So I had a fake ID plug. So I had them make me a fake Seminole card so I could pretend to be a student. And I would show that card, and then I would go and perform on open mics over at Florida State. And from that, I met a dude who booked a little local thing in town, and then that was it, man. And so you start meeting the local comics.
That's what I was going to say. Once you kind of meet the people that are in the, in that space, that's where the information starts to present itself, right? Because you're around it, like anything else, like this.
So my degree is in broadcast, right? And so because I was suspended from school, when I got reinstated at FAMU, there's certain stipulations in college where, like, if you cut a fool and they let you back in, all you can do is go to class and go home. So you really can't do campus radio. You can't do the campus paper the way you want to. And I really couldn't because, motherfucker, I'm gone on the weekends because at this point I'm working the road. I'm enrolled, but I'm working the road. Mm-hmm. I created an internship for myself. This cat, Van Wilson, at the time, it was a radio station in Tallahassee, Hot 105.7. And he would let me come in at 5 o'clock in the morning and do morning news. So I wrote the morning newscast, and I did the news on the 10s and the 30 every morning before my 8 o'clock classes. There was a comedian who went to FAMU who was the co-host of that morning show. His name was William E. Gilmore. And William Gilmore is a FAMU rattler. And you're not just a motherfucker for no reason can see hustle. Mm-hmm. And so Gilmore would host the show, then go be a school teacher from 9 to 3, and then would go anywhere near Tallahassee and go do shows. Gilmore started taking me on the road with him. You remember this name from the olden days. He would take me to do Al Tillman rooms down in Georgia, Aubrey Pippin rooms over in South Carolina. And we go up to Uptown and all of that shit. So that was like an early year one mentor on, okay, this is a set list. Here is a premise. I see you up there just kind of doing your thing and running your mouth, but you need structure. And so Gilmore was the cat kind of year one, year two, until I graduated and moved back to Birmingham, that was kind of walking me through the comedy scene in North Florida and South Georgia.
When do you feel like you made the decision? I mean, in the early stages of it, right? I mean, of course, the pressure of fucking prison. I mean, by the way, I don't know how you're able to do that. I'll tell you right now, I don't have that. Like, you're not going to tell me I'm going to jail and sit me down to wait to go to jail. Like, I'm telling you now,
6 months.
I'm not capable. I'm not. There's no.
You gonna go on the run? You gonna go on the run?
I'm not. There's no. I say this with all due respect. You are not going to tell me that I'm going to jail and tell me I'm gonna be there for 5 years, but give me all this other language of 2 to 1, and yo, you got like 6-8 months to figure. I'm out of here.
Yeah, you
in
have
whatever
6 months.
way. Yeah, I don't have that. So
you have 6 months to get your affairs in order and have anyone who's ever loved you write a letter to the prosecutor to recommend that you get probation.
Yeah, I'll show you my affairs. It's called a tracksuit and the best pair of fucking track sneaks you've ever seen, because I'm running. So good luck.
Motherfucker, you ain't good luck. How long you gonna be on the run? Old school Foot Locker Kevin Hart? Foot Locker Kevin Hart.
Hey, man,
where you
catch me.
Go?
Then catch me, man. And guess what? If y'all get too close, I'm jumping.
Now you getting 10. Now you
I'm out of
10.
here. Not if I don't survive the jump. I'm jumping, man.
Don't kill yourself over 5 years.
Oh,
5 years down. 5 years down to a year and a half with good behavior and overcrowding.
I ain't got it.
If you smart, got it, man. Do like that old Martin Lawrence joke. Eat one of your turds, and then they put you in the hole for half your sentence.
Not little cute Kev. I'm not going. They're not gonna have. Hey, they're not gonna have little cute in shape Kev in there. No, sir. I'm not doing it, buddy.
That shit put.
No, sir.
It just, I don't know, man. Once you face down the barrel of that, it's just everything else is just small. Everything else in life is just small. So like, but when did you doing comedy?
Did you say like, okay, you're putting these dots together, they're connecting, right? Okay, the sentence comes, oh my God, probation. Wow, what a fucking thing. I'm back in school. Okay, life is starting to kind of unfold back to the right direction. At that
Dean's
point,
list with the grades.
Did you know at that point, did you go, okay, like stand-up comedy is it for me though? Like like you said, broadcasting is your major. That's where your world is, etc. So you have a background, you have a major. The other things in college are there to present themselves. Were you at that point committed to stand-up comedy being your one-all, be-all, do-all?
No.
Or was it just like the hobby at that time?
It's just what I love doing, so that's what I filled all my time with. You gotta remember, I'm the child of 2 college professors. You know, my pops, my mom, 2 doctorates in the house and shit. So you ain't gonna show up the education. So when I graduated, the issue was, and also sidebar, only reason I showed up for my college graduation was because of gig canceled. I didn't care about school. I just wanted to I enjoyed stand-up, but let me get this degree. Let me get a regular job. Let me figure out how to double dip, not realizing that you really can't do that with stand-up. So when I graduated, I started applying for jobs in journalism, and nobody would fucking hire me, bro. Number one, because I'm a convicted felon on probation. Number two, I have, at that time, I'm still on probation when I graduated. So I can't get, like, my degree is in broadcast, but all my experience is in print. And all I've been doing is fucking around on the radio a little bit. I didn't have enough internship. By the time you graduating senior in journalism, you need to have been working at a real TV station. Your ass needs to have been somewhere structured, learning proper Lester Holt, Bryant Gumbel, Stuart Scott type shit, right? I wanted to be Stuart Scott. That was the lane I wanted to fill. So I had 2 job offers, one from the Tampa Tribune, one from the Birmingham News. And both job offers were around $14,000. At the time, I did the math on the money I was making as a road comic, and I figured that year I should make $17K. So I go to my mom and I go, look, let me stay with you for up to 3 years.
I love that you had it mapped out.
I made $9K first year. I made 11, and by my projections with the money that was on the books, I should make 17. And you're not stand up. The further out you go, the more money you make. You start adding merch. Same time, Ricky Smiley leaves Birmingham. He leaves the morning show in Birmingham to go to Dallas to start what eventually became his shit today, the syndicated joint. So the radio station in Birmingham had an opening for an internship. So I just took that, and that was enough to keep my mom at bay. And mind you, this is the same radio station where my pops worked. So she felt like there was a degree of insulation from the book. At least he has a real path, because you're not going to explain a career in entertainment to a college administrator like my mom. It's just not going to compute. But because I worked at 95.7, that was enough for her to shut the fuck up. And then I'm on the road in the meantime, building and that's when I was like, okay, I can do this. Because in 2001, you know what radio could do for your career as a road comedian.
Yeah, I mean,
at the time.
I was just gonna say what I love about what you're saying right now, man, and to just to kind of shine a light on the value of the fucking gems that he's dropping right now. Roy is basically giving you guys an overview of how he attached a business that could secure the want and fuel the drive for the dream. Like, I love this thing. I love this hobby, but let me go and break down the economics attached to the things surrounding it so that I could fucking secure like my ability to play. And at this time, and at 1998, from 1998 to, I'll say, to probably 2010, I think you're looking at the second tier of height of radio. And what I mean by that, like, of course you had like the Tom Joyner days, you had the Doug Banks, you had Russ Parr, right? Yeah. Like this is when like the idea of the morning shows, it was secured by people who turned it into such a big broad business that those businesses grew the international exposure to stations. So for comics that were able to kind of get involved in this business early saw a great secure return of just like security. To your point of Ricky Smiley, when Ricky Smiley left to go do radio, that opened up the door for somebody else. But Michael Shawn went and did radio. There's only Rudy Rush is another comic that it went. What's our guy?
J. Anthony Brown.
Like, God, there's not a crazy amount of comics that were able to get in that door when they presented themselves.
Prescott
but the ones
in
that
Memphis, if we're talking locals, I'll give a shout out to Griff 3K.
Oh, absolutely.
In Atlanta as well.
Absolutely.
But like that was what the game plan was. But then what I also figured out, bro, and this is what I learned when I was still in Tallahassee, if I'm going to grow my money in comedy, I have to perform for more than Black audiences. So I just never bought into just being a Black comic or a Def Jam comic. And the issue, and it pays me dividends now creatively. But when I started at 19, you know the drill, bro. When you're performing in the Florida Panhandle, one night it's a casino with 70-year-olds. The next night you're in Fort Walton Beach with the White Spring Breaker, MTV Spring Break days. And then you at Uptown with Nard Holston, RIP, setting you up to get booed. Earthquake on stage, swirling a Heineken, setting your ass up. So what is the joke? What is the thing I can talk about that I don't have to change my style between these different demographics? And so that's when the comedy became a little bit more rounded out about the world and trying to find common denominators in people. Because the only goal when I first started, like those first 4 or 5 years, every month perform in a new city, even if it's for free, find one place to go that you haven't been before. So if I had a Monday in Memphis and I had a Tuesday in Indianapolis, I'm calling the motherfucking Kentucky and going, yeah, man, I'm headed to a gig. Would love to swing by. And just lie my ass off. They lying to us.
He said you're going to return the favor. You're going to return the favor.
What you going to do? What you going to do? Tell me I can't go on stage? I already wasn't going to go on stage, and I was going to sleep in my car at the truck stop. So who gives a fuck? So when radio hit, radio really expanded my reach because, like you said, like that was Black Twitter in the late 90s, early 2000s. So if you was on the radio, you is somebody. And also I benefited from it because Birmingham is A+ comedy market. The same comics that play every major city in this country have played Birmingham. Birmingham was a major player back in the 80s. So every Friday in my morning show, I had some of the best comedians in the country coming in, and I just got to sit as an intern. I worked my way up to host over a decade. Bro, I saw Lavelle Crawford come in, and Gary Owen is a close second, but the idea of understanding the concept of getting on the radio to sell a ticket, to excite people about coming to see you live. Lavelle Crawford understood how to reach people through the microphone. I saw Bruce
one of the best to ever do it. I was going to say Bruce, Lavelle, Gary, get to, what's our guy? Don DC. I mean, you're talking about magicians. You're talking about people who made the business of the comedy club a big business. It was the comics that understood how to go in there with material, flip material into bits on air, be funny, turn that into ticket sales from the people in the morning drive saying, I want to go and see this person.
Bro, that model was created. They told me stories about how Bruce used to come to Birmingham the night before and would just walk around the Black Mall and roast niggas. Go to barbershops all day and roast niggas.
Sell.
And by the time Friday morning came, he didn't even need to do radio, but would still do it just on the strength and the love of the city, man. Marlon Wayans used to do that when him and Sean first started going out, and they would already be sold out. They would still come on the show. Sinbad as well. So I got to sit and watch. That was the classroom. Radio became the classroom. And then when I would go out on the weekends to do my own sets, opening for whoever the hell, wherever the hell, that's where I got to kind of apply some of what I was learning. But the one thing I figured out in the South, man, is that if you only appeal into one demographic, you are not going to make enough money to move out of your mama's house. Thanks. So I just started, my style just changed up a little bit.
Big facts. I mean, you know, it's also just learning to appeal to the broad audience of all, right? You know, like, I think the smarter you get as a comic, you understand that the best reward is a reward of funny just being the concept of funny and removing the idea of what version of funny you are, right? Yeah. Like when people go and associate you just with being funny, well, that's a ticket. I'm going to buy a ticket. Like you just want to be a walking ticket at the end of the day.
That's all I wanted, man. That's all I wanted.
When did you feel your big break came? And I love asking comics this question because there's such a variety of answers that you get. You know what I mean? It's like, but for me, I really want to know, like, at what point in your career, right, or early stages of your career, what was the inkling of knowing, okay, this is life now. This is life, and I can operate with using this sole fucking concept as my job, my career, my to-do. I can be a comic. What was your light bulb? Your light bulb moment?
2006 was I can do this full time. 2015 was, I have job security. Okay. Because there's a difference between, I have the job, and knowing, no, I can comfortably always figure this out. 2006, I did Letterman and Def Jam in 12 months. I did the Montreal Comedy Festival, which is like the NFL Combine for comedians.
Absolutely.
I do Montreal in 2006 as a new face. I get Letterman. Letterman does well. I booked Def Jam that following spring. The same time, I got into a dispute with a comedy booker down south who was essentially 60% of my work came from this single person. I ain't like the way I was being treated, so I just fucking quit. I just like, I'm not taking it.
What does that mean?
In the sense,
I didn't like the way I was being treated.
I was getting passed over for promotions. To break it down to a 9-to-5 concept. As a comedian, there's an MC, there's a feature act, there's a headliner. If you feature well enough, long enough, you're supposed to be promoted to headliner. That doubles your money from $150 a night to $300 a night. That's bottom of the barrel base level salary for a road comedian. Buddy told me for years, you need more credits in order to be a headliner. Well, bitch nigga, I just booked Letterman and Def Jam. There are no two shows more far apart, and I did them both. So what more do you need to know that I can do jokes for both fucking demographics? Yeah. I mean, you did. Yeah, but tell you, we want to bring you in one more round as a feature and see what your club reports say. That's the bookers when you get basically your evaluation form from the manager on site at that particular market. And I said, fuck that. I'm not coming in no more. I'm not going to do it, bro. I'm not going to do it. And I'm about to be broke. And if I'm going to be broke, I may as well be broke in LA. I got enough heat. I'm leaving. And a month later, I did a college conference and I booked 90 schools.
NACA? Did you do NACA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I booked 90 schools, and this ain't my rate now, but it was $1,000 a school. Let me tell you something. When you go from making $150 a night on the road to 90 schools at a G a pop, that's when I was like, okay, when you step out on faith and go, I'm not going to take that. You got to clear the plate for whatever's coming next for yourself. And so that was the first time I learned that lesson. It was actually that incident that was part of what gave me the level of give a fuck about leaving The Daily Show, if we being 100 about it, because The Daily Show was a great job. The Daily Show was a very good job. I got a lot of good friends there, but I don't know if this is the move no more. But I wasn't going to get what I got at CNN until I officially left there. There was no way to there's no smooth transitions in this business. You got to stop doing one thing in order to find out what's next for yourself. So that's what happened, man. 06 was a good run. And I moved to LA, my rent tripled, and that goddamn $90,000 dried the fuck up so fast. But I was in LA. Couldn't tell me shit, bro. Like that. And then I started having to fly myself to all my gigs. So that airline fee was eating up to fucking $300. It was just like making $150.
Gone. You say at that point, you say, well, what the fuck? That money gets eaten up fast. Up fast.
06 was the first time I had real job security. I had a dispute with the radio station because they wouldn't give me an extra hour to bring me full time so I could get a root canal. I got pissed off and quit. I came back and started doing stuff remote with them. But that was 06 was a very pivotal stand on business type year.
I mean, but for the Daily Show, when we talk about just the departure from the Daily Show, I was never aware of like what the reasons or, the why. I always viewed it from the outside of, your participation on the Daily Show was dope. Like I knew you were writing on the Daily Show. I also knew that you were a consistent like personality, like within the sketches and stuff like that. And I felt like the platform gave you an amazing outlet to showcase your talent in a variety of different ways. And when you went on to do other things, I always viewed it as you were just spreading your wings and doing more. I never knew that there was a departure from the Daily Show. I never knew.
That's kind of what it was. I mean, it wasn't a bunch of drama. It just boiled down to when Trevor left the show and they did all the guest hosts for months and months and months. And then the writer's strike hit. And the whole time I've been talking with corporate about, well, what are the plans? And my name was in the hat to host, and maybe he'll host. We don't know. They're looking at other people. And then it came out that Hassan Minhaj, shout out to the homie Hassan, that it was supposed to be his job, but some shit went down and it wasn't his job no more. So then the question I threw back to Comedy Central was, well, what's the plan? And it wasn't in the spirit of I should host. It's just I need to know what's going to happen in the next year of my life. I'm a fucking father. So I'm not just going to be around here and then we all get fired in 3 months. And this is before Jon Stewart was rumored to be coming back to the show as it is now. At this point, we're just going to guest host again. I don't know if the new host going to want me. I don't know if I'm going to be host. I don't know. And you can't tell me which way you're even thinking. Like, just tell me the parameter. If you just say, we thinking about a woman. Okay, cool. I can set up a short list in my brain of the women who could do this job And of those women, who would actually want to do this job and which ones actually fuck with me and make an educated guess on whether or not I couldn't even do that, bro. So I just felt like going into an election year, I'm in control if I leave. I'm not in control if they let me go or they change the show in a way that doesn't benefit me creatively. So I'm better off leaving right now. And I know whatever is supposed to be next will figure itself out. I just need to stay sharp, talented, and hustle. That's all I got to do. Everything else will come together. And that move in 2006 is what made me fearless. Because, I mean, I've crossed that bridge 2-3 times again before the Daily Show departure. So
it's clarity. It's context and it's clarity, but you're not asking for any reason other than the reason of just understanding so you know how to best position yourself for the years to come.
You know what it was like? You know what it was like, man? Me talking to Comedy Central, it was like when you married, you probably can't even laugh at this no more. It's like when a girl asks you, where's this going? And you know it ain't going nowhere. But you don't want to stop doing what y'all been doing.
Got you.
But you know it ain't going nowhere. I smelled some of that on their breath. And I was like, ooh, I know what this is like. Oh, okay, y'all ain't sure what y'all want to do. Okay. Well, this definitely ain't what marriage feel like. Well, I should leave.
I should get the fuck out of here. At this point, I should just go.
You did a good job not laughing, by the way. Congratulations.
Well, by the way, I would never laugh at anything like that because it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous what you're saying and what you're doing. Okay. I love in this conversation, man, Roy, one thing that I'm really picking up from you, man, you seem to be a well vetted out individual. Like you seem to have like one of those minds that operate in stages of thought. Like, this is what I want to do, but to do that, I want to have this, this, and this. And this is the best road. This is the best way. And if I get there, then I'll be able to have this down the line, with what I'm perceiving, to be true based off of our conversation and knowing how the world of stand-up comedy works. With you and just your future in the business at this point, being a talented ass writer. I mean, one who is arguably like known for one of the best people with that pen to the pad, especially when you talk in that political space and political humor. And I mean, there's not many that do it. I put Trevor and you like truly like as some of my favorites to do it not only well, but never lose sight of like the energy. Like your attitude is never compromised. Your voice is never compromised. But you say the dopest shit while still staying true to yourself. That's a talent. Where do you foresee Roy Woods going? Like what does the future look like for you? What's the want at this point in stage of your career? You know what I mean? Like, is it something that puts you in that format, not of the Daily Show, but something where you're able to put that talent and, political humor and knowledge on display and showcase what could have been? Or is it leaving that behind and doing more?
I'm trying. It's like I got one toe in that now with CNN. So Saturday nights, CNN has me hosting a new show called Have I Got News for You? It's a remake of a British panel show. The British version been going 30 years. It's like their Daily Show, basically. So, I get to host that with Amber Ruffin and Michael Ian Black. And that gives me a chance to make fun of the news. It's like a fake quiz show. We just talking about current events. It's fun, and I love that. So that's giving me a taste of what it's like to sit in the host chair. And it's dope because, CNN trying something new. And then I get to go, all right, is this really where I want to be as a host? Do I want to stay in politics, or do I want to go off and start writing some other shit? I sold a book called The Man of Many Fathers. My pops died when I was 16. And so I started thinking about my own son and the lessons that I want to instill in him. And you start reflecting on, well, who taught me all of that shit if Pops was dead? And it's just, the book is just going to be a compilation of lessons that I learned from various men who came in and
from a variety of different men that you came across.
Okay. So then part of me goes, well, fuck, if that's a book, it might be a one-man show. So now I'm studying Whoopi. Now I'm studying Mike Birbiglia. Low key, I'm looking at a little bit of Gerard, because Gerard shit is kind of on some quasi one-man show type situation now with what he does live. So, I would love to stay in politics and keep talking shit about that, but I think there's more topics and more subjects to cover. But for as long as I can stay connected with people in the world of late night, man, I'm with it, bro.
More Gold Mines with Kevin Hart after this. Now more from Kevin Hart on Gold Mines.
I think we have to foresee where we are seeing ourselves going and where we would love to basically end up at some point in time, right?
Yeah.
I started dabbling with the idea of the talk show with Hart to Hart because I'm like, as we get older, the road is great. I'll be honest with you. I love the road. I love touring, but the way that we do it and the manner that we do it, how long can you keep up the pace? And when we're in our best rhythm, it's because we're getting the most reps. So as a comic, when your jokes are flowing and they're the sharpest, it's because you're getting the most reps. So whether that's a week or weekend, is that a Thursday through Sunday? Is it a Friday through Saturday? A Friday, Saturday, whatever it is, you're getting some consistency in the craft. So how much of that do we do, and what's the timeline where we go, we're ready to reduce and do something a little more secure, stationary? The talk show, I was like, I want to dabble in it because this can put me home. I can be home. I can pop into a studio. I can enjoy the fam, the kids, etc., and be in, be out, be happy. You know what I mean? Be happy with it. When you're talking about the idea of late night, I'm just speaking it into existence for you, man. We do not have many of the comedic tones and personalities within our culture that do it at your caliber. And what made Trevor so fucking good is that it was refreshing to see a man of color talk the same shit that we've seen other people talk for so long, but with dialect and a narrative that's so punctual, secure, and this and that, right? And Jon Stewart came and added a flair to it, but seeing the change and seeing our culture being presented in that manner, it was dope. And knowing that our culture was behind him as well was dope.
What Trevor was able to do so well that I've never been able to do is that he knows how to compartmentalize his anger so that he can make a point and communicate more effectively with people who are listening, with people who are angry, right? Because there's been days, bro, I used to walk up in the Daily Show, mad the motherfucker. Did you see that shit? Nigga, we got to talk about that shit right the fuck now. Yes, we will. We will address it and we will talk about it. And then he'll take it and put it in a way that just perfectly encompasses the anger. Like that, you want to talk about watching somebody and learning some shit, man. That was one of the most valuable lessons I took away from the Daily Show is that if you do it wrong, anger dilutes humor. But if you acknowledge the emotion of anger and then continue into a joke, it's, man, I don't even want to get into all of that human interaction, psychological shit where they talk about how if you acknowledge another person's emotion before then talking to them, the person is more likely to listen. Mm-hmm. I don't have to match your emotion. I just got to say, I see your anger. It's like, it's a shit customer service do on the phone. Motherfucker, y'all motherfucker canceled the flight. I understand you're angry about your flight being canceled, and I am going to work to get you rebooked. And that's the shit that'll calm you down for just a second. Instead of them going, hey, I know you mad, motherfucker. I'm mad too. Ain't it fucked up that they canceled all the flight? There's no solutions being discovered in that exchange, even if they're on your team. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Trevor's a master with that shit, man. I really, really would love to just have a platform where, you can talk and reach people, and CNN's giving me that right now. And I'm happy for Have I Got News for You. And I just look for the show to just keep growing, bro.
Good shit, man. I love it. I'm happy to hear it. And, I love that you're in a space where you feel good, you feel respected, you're happy, of course, with the opportunity. But I truly hope it sets up, the conversation for what the bigger opportunity will be. And I'm not saying should be.
My man.
I'm saying will be. Like it's a matter of time.
I take it.
And the reason why I just say it's a matter of time is just because it's we just don't have it. We truly just don't have it. Like we don't have our version of a political discussion, but done with a POV where we can understand. And, you know, I think if and when given, you'll see an amazing response from this younger generation and just understanding, right? It's like my relationship with Chase Bank. You know, I've been partnered with Chase for years now. And I remember when I told him, I said, look, man, I want to make sure that I'm a part of the initiatives attached to the community and just trying to like cure the disease of financial literacy. Like, how do we change it? What do we do to work? And I remember when out the gate, you know, they were like, I asked them, I said, well, who are you sending to these communities to like talk or to teach? And it was like this white guy, buttoned up white guy. And I was like, well, he can never do it because they're never listening to him because he has no idea. He has no idea where they come from or where, you know, where their understanding, what it's built off of. He doesn't know that. And I was like, that's the disconnect. So the disconnect in politics at times comes from the way that politics is presented to us as a culture, especially to the youth. And when you have the voices that can do it with a different narrative and do it with a different flair, I just think it's extremely valuable. And I definitely see you not only doing that, but continuing to do that. And like I said, the opportunity will present itself soon. And just know that you got a big fucking supporter and fan in me when it does. I appreciate I gotta get back. I got to get back to the earlier things that we talked about, man. And, you know, we come from different comedy classes, right? Like as comics, like you were a part of a class. Like what were the comics that were in your class? Who would you consider to be your comedy class?
Lil Rel, Deion Cole, maybe. But it's tough to say because you got to remember, man, I came up down south, which is like essentially being homeschooled for comedy. You know,
that's pretty fucking funny.
Chicago's a university. There's a curriculum. There are good professors. There's predecessors. New York, San Francisco, LA, like these are comedy markets where even Atlanta to a degree, you know, I'd say, you know, if I'm talking just cats I ran into on the come up, who I started, I ain't gonna say I started with it, we even did shows together, but cats who were around the same time, I'd say Lil Duval. I saw him some.
Okay.
But to say that we ran in the same circles, that wouldn't be true. But I mean, Prescott, Lomax, you got me thinking like, you know, Benji Brown, Marvin Dixon, like these are all people I saw, like these all, you know, Southern beasts, you know, Nard Holston, Doodoo Brown. Like if we talking black, you know, if we talking black comedy, you know what I'm saying? Miss Pat is probably one of the closest running partners I'd say that I have. You know, she and I came up around the same time and did a lot of shows together as well.
Miss Pat. I love Miss Pat.
But you know, I think the one advantage though you have on the road versus coming up, I think like I've said this before, Chicago and DC hands down the best comedy markets, best pedigree, because they policed anybody that was similar to anybody, which is why most comedians from that market, no two comedians are similar. It's the best place to hone your uniqueness and creativity as an artist, are those two markets. But the advantage I think you have coming up as a road comic, working with different motherfuckers every week, is that I got to see every possible way this job can end. I know cats who opened for me who are now filthy rich multimillionaires, and I know cats who I used to open for that have killed themselves. And I've seen everything between the two. Alcoholism, I've seen neglectful parenting. I've seen cats who had it and then fumbled it. I've seen cats who lost it all because they married the wrong person. So in a way, by the time I got to New York, by the time I got to LA, I was in LA first before New York, you recognize all the vices and the way you can slip into all of that shit. Whereas if you come up on the coast and you're primarily a coastal comic for 4 or 5 years, and you got your weight up and you got your glitz and glamour, you got your shiny jacket, You got your TV credits, you got a little bit of respect, and then they set you out on the road and them motherfucking wolves will eat you. You know the stories. Motherfuckers getting set up to get robbed after they show. Stop
Absolutely.
telling people where you stay, dummy. You think that girl really like you, dummy? Like that type of shit. I know cats and got shot in their room. Leave town. Get your money and stay at least 2 exits up the freeway. If somebody paying you in cash, don't let them cover your hotel room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The nigga who just gave you $800 know where you stay? Come on, big dog.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
put that wallet in the toilet. You ever learn that one? Any of your OGs teach you that one?
The wallet, yes. Wallet.
Sean Jones and Akatunde taught me that one. Put your wallet in the Ziploc, put it under the toilet lid.
There you go. There you go.
Or I mean, get a second hotel room and fuck in the empty hotel room, and then they don't know where you should
go back to the other one. I mean, if you really want to know, if you want to know who could be some of the most, I would say, intriguing criminal masterminds, you got to get inside the mind of a road comic. The fear of things happening and the prevention of these things that have yet to happen, but the thought of how they may happen. Hey man, look, get the hotel, but don't make that be your hotel. Get the hotel around there from that hotel. That's what you want. But tell everybody you staying at this one. By the way, make them drop you off at the fake. We'll wait till they leave. Then you get your ass a ride and go back to where you really are. It's all about the smoke and mirrors, because in these cities, you don't know these people. You don't know these promoters. You don't know the personnel around you. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position to get knocked in the fucking head and the money that you made be the money that goddamn got took. Like I can tell you so many of the fucking craziest road stories. I remember Michael Blackson, Ray from Philadelphia, this guy named Buck Wild from Philly. We are driving in Buck's car. We get pulled over by the cops. Turns out, fucking this car is stolen. Buck got us in the stolen goddamn car. Never told us. Fucking cops make us all get out, get on the ground. We look at Buck. This motherfucker is eating his fingertips. Right? He's eating. We said, what the fuck are you doing? He says, I'm eating my fingerprints so they can't show up when they go to take my fingerprints. Are we like, what? What the fuck did you do? Who? Did he change his name on us? He said, hey, man, don't call me Buck, man. My name Aziz. When they ask you what my name is, just say Aziz. Who the fuck? By the way, we found all this out. We found all this information out in the 4 minutes of getting out of the car, sitting down on the ground so that they can go search the car. We found all the truth out about who the fuck Buck was. One of the funniest moments. And Michael Blackson, I'll never forget it. Michael Blackson talks to the cop. He tells the cop, he says, officer, please. He says, listen, I am the African king of comedy. I'll never forget it. He put the accent on. He says, I am the African king of comedy. He says, look in my bag. There's a headshot. There's a headshot of who I am. Please, I have nothing to do with this. I said, Mike. He threw your niggas under the bus. He tried to listen. He said, I have nothing to do with this. He says, this is his car, his stuff. I have nothing to do with it. Officer, hey man, sit on the ground. Sit your ass down. He says, just please look in my bag. He wanted the officer to look at his headshot. And he's like, Mike, what do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to fucking do when he sees that headshot? You're not the prince of. Sit your stupid ass down and take this fucking arrest just like we will. Yes.
I'm a Super Bowl champion. Please don't. It don't matter who you are. The police don't care. That make them really want to take you down. You know we got the African king of comedy. Yeah.
I have never laughed more in my goddamn life, man. A very, very, very funny time.
It's sad, man. I just know a lot of cats who weren't able to be a good road comic. That's what I'm trying to say. To be a good road comedian, you cry in the car much sooner than a comic from the city. And a lot of comedians that start in the city, that's all training. You ain't never been out of town to spar. And when the actual business of this game starts hitting you and you hit those peaks and valleys. And this job is a series of never-ending motherfucking peaks and valleys.
Yes, it is.
If you ain't got the emotional wherewithal to get through that, to me, that kills off 85% of entertainers. I don't care what the genre is. So I have cried in the car, and I have seen people cry in the car. Mm-hmm. I've been on the road with cats, bro. I remember a gig canceled on me on the way there, and the gig was my fucking gas money home. Slept at the Flying J across the state line in Kentucky to wake up the next day to work day labor so I could make $35 fucking just to get a tank of gas to go home. And got home, my mama asked me how the gig was. I said it was great. You don't even need to know that.
That's right. Ain't nobody's business.
Bro, I've been on the road with cats who fucking, that gig was the money they needed to get the court paperwork straight, to try and get some level of visitation, just to pay back child support. Yeah, nigga, I ain't got y'all money tonight, but I could pay you in cocaine. Niggas crying all the way back to the... And then you have to share... The worst is when you have to share a condo. I don't know if you ever had to do that, because I think you went straight Philly to LA, and then you came back and did the road in a different fashion. But
only condo I did was the one in Cleveland. Was that the Improv? Is the
the Flats.
Yes.
Yeah, right across from the right across from the club.
That's the
big
only
parking
condo
lot.
I've ever stayed in. Yep.
White wall, long I know that one.
Yeah.
So you share these condos with the other comedians, man. You'll be in the condo at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, and it's a grown man crying. And I'm just trying to play my fucking PlayStation 2. And this motherfucker, I just fucking don't. I'm so sick of this fucking road, man, and this fucking job. It's just fucking. And you start going, wow, I don't want to be them. Like, the road is very much like climbing Mount Everest when you have to go past them dead bodies. And you just have to keep climbing. So the sooner you see the dead bodies, the more prepared I think you are. Now, the downside is that I don't get as many reps as a city comic, which is why Chicago and Atlanta and DC niggas come out the gate stronger, faster than most cats who are not from solid comedy communities. Birmingham is not Atlanta. It's not Miami even, to that regard. So it's just, it's harder to get stage time on a regular.
Well, I think that it's pretty much also like you knowing, like the comics that know and that know where the tougher spots were, like that's where you had to put more energy, more work, right? Like in those spaces, all right, well, I got to turn up, on a scale of 1 to 10, I got to try to get to a 30. I remember my biggest struggles came from the South early on. To your point, I came up in the East Coast. So the DC, the Baltimore, the Philadelphia, the New York.
You talked too fast early on.
Yeah, I was very like, okay, this is where I'm at. I got to the South. I was like, oh man, they hate me out here. The South, oh my God, these people, they can't fucking stand me. I can't. And it was exactly that. It was the city. I called it the city boy cadence of Eddie Murphy in life. You know what I'm saying? I'm New York City, baby. Whatever you want, whatever you need.
Ray Gibson.
Ray Gibson, baby. New York City. I got what you need right here. Who the fuck you talk to? Like, so fast, so quick.
Slow it down.
Had to slow it the fuck down. Slow it down. But once I saw the return and like energy from the audiences in the South, is when I started to feel good. Like, that's when I started to feel good about the early stages of a comic, because I was like, okay, I can get into all the comedy clubs. If I can get into all the comedy clubs, and then I found out they all talked, they all shared information. All I got to do is get some good rapport going and get some good conversations. And they toss them too. They start tossing them to each other. I'm going to be on this road forever, and I'm going to be okay with that.
Houston
I was okay with
Dallas. That. Dallas talked to San Antonio. You lock up San Antonio. That's going to give you Oklahoma City. That's going to give you all the I-35 all the way up through Nebraska. And then that's going to give you Denver automatically off of that. Man, I just, as much as crazy as the road was, man, I still see value in it, because when the industry can decide that it's done with you at any point, but the people will always love you if you always treat them right. You always give them a good show. Absolutely. The ups and downs of the industry side of this are what I find far more frustrating than avoiding fucking girls and drinking too much liquor and getting roofied or something weird or getting your car stolen. Like the hurdles of navigating studio notes on a script or feeling like, oh, I worked at this show and maybe they'll at least be honest with me. Even if they don't pick me, they'll be open. Well, I didn't get that. So like that type of betrayal is far more surprising because in the industry, once you're in the machine and once you're in what people perceive to be success, that's when all of the real fucking curveballs start coming because they come from people who seem to be well-intentioned and they come from people who smile, and there's way more smiles. At least when you was broke, it was just you. So you knew who you could trust. And I think that's the part of the industry that nobody can prepare you for. And there's no book you can read on it. There's no, like, some cats can give you some of the game, but you if you don't know, you don't know. That, like, a headliner told me a story one time, like, for the listeners, some comedy clubs pay you a bonus for every show you sell out. And some clubs pay you a bonus for the cumulative amount of people that showed up. If 500 people show up, then 750, then 1,000 over the course of the weekend, you get a bonus at each mile marker. There was a club owner that was paying sellout bonuses, but when the headliner would go on stage, he would go to the bar and put 10 bar stools from the bar into the showroom, take a picture, and then show you that, man.
Almost.
You almost did it. You almost did it. Meanwhile, if you ain't got nobody watching your back on the motherfucking website, the show is promoted as sold out. And some clubs will deliberately promote an unsold out show as sold out to keep it from selling out so that they don't have to pay you your extra bread.
All the rules of the trade.
There's a headline. I ain't going to say his name on the podcast. The nigga wouldn't go on stage for the second show until he got his bonuses from the night before. He held the show hostage.
I mean, those are all tricks of the trade. Once you learn the business, but that's why I think the road manager is so important. You know, your road manager, to your point, the person that is watching your back, somebody that is there and that has your best fucking, like, has your world as their best interest. Like, that's something that I think is learned and earn as you go on. That's all knowledge, right? Like you understand the importance of a team, you know, the importance of a role manager, the importance of someone that acts as an assistant, getting openers that are basically like friends that you guys all build a great synergy and energy so that when you're out, you start to develop this team concept. You know what I mean?
There's a reason why there aren't many plastic cup boy type operations from the South. Have you peeped that? In the sense that 85 South, even 85 South, I don't count as that because 85 South is a group of niggas that came together and understood that there was strength in numbers, but their individual comedic pedigrees and their journeys were separate. And then they met. But the idea of like you and Naeem and Spank and all them niggas, like coming up together, that can only happen in a major city because there was enough stage time and there was enough places to eat and y'all could travel together and carpool down to Baltimore and get a little bit of money because the nucleus of where shit was. There is no gig in Birmingham where I could carpool with niggas and go down to Biloxi 4 deep and expect we all will make enough money to make it worth our while. So you just don't see as many squads like that. It's different now with the youngins and kind of the comedy / influencers. I don't really count that because they're coming up in a different business model. But for where you're from, that shit is a blessing. I don't have that. I have a lot of comedians I'm tight with and I'm cool with, but I got like the Birmingham cats that I knew. Then I got a whole nother wave of LA cats. And then I got the New York wave that I'm cool with. And none of those 3 circles overlap. It's like going to school all over town. It's just different school districts.
It's so damn smart. It's so damn smart. It's like, I don't know. I love the process. I love the understanding of the process. And I love giving this type of knowledge, to our listeners, because the world of stand-up appears to be this great, glamorous world, but people don't understand like the true trenches that you have to make it out of to get to any place of success, especially security. It's a hard road, but the beauty of that hard road are the stories that come out of it. And I hope that the listeners appreciate these stories. I hope that the listeners receive the world of storytelling and understand that it's done never from a place of bitching, but from a place of understanding. We wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't take it any other way. I wouldn't change any of the problems. I wouldn't change any of the hardships. I wouldn't change any of the fucktivity. It all helps to shape and mold the comic into the person or personnel that you see, that you embrace, that you love. That's why we choose comedy. We choose comedy because we choose the journey. And today, man, what a fucking brilliant journey of discovery. And I will say
that, man.
I will say this to my listeners, man. Educate yourself on Roy Wood Jr. He's a comics comic. And I mean that. Like, he's one of the good guys. He's one of the funny ones. And I light up if I have an opportunity to see you. If I'm in the same space, if it's sitting in your performance, I'm never not going to watch. I'm a fan, man. And, I learned something today. I had no idea just about the Daily Show, the reasons, etc., attached to it. But like any door that not closes, but just like just lessens a little bit. It's always there for you to put your foot back into it if you want to. But the doors that open up outside of that one, man, those doors are fucking amazing. And I love that CNN is embracing you. I love that you're somewhere and you're fucking happy and you're doing the things you love. Just remember, mark my words. It's not, man, I hope. I'm telling you, when it does, just remember our conversation today. I've never been more confident in anything in my life. Just remember our conversation today.
Okay. And then I'm going to make you the first guest, just like you blessed Trevor.
You have
Trevor's very first episode of Daily Show was you.
It's me.
Yep.
There is no yes plus yes plus yes. I say it here. Mark it down. Yes plus yes plus yes.
The only thing I do different in my career, bro, is that I would have moved to New York instead of LA, and I would have married that one girl instead of cheating on her. That's it.
You know what? That's a big realization. And I don't know who she hears this. That's a big W for her.
Trust me. That's a shit with my name.
I told him. See what I'm saying? Now what I'm saying. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gold Mines, and it's nothing but gold, not sometimes, but all the time. Roy Woods Jr., he provided just that, man. Gems were dropped. I hope you did your job and picked them up. God damn, I swear to God, I love conversation, but conversation with comedy just hits different. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Roy, I appreciate you, man.
Love you, man.
Gold Mines with Kevin Hart is a Sirius XM and Laugh Out Loud radio production and executive produced by Kevin Hart, Mike Stein, Brian Smiley, Eric Eddings, and Eric Weil. Produced by Danny Sellers and Leslie Guam. Engineered by Danny Sellers.